Space, and it is my privilege to introduce today's speaker, Mr. Ahmed, a solicitor of Hong Kong High Court, whose inspiring legal journey starts right here with Hong Kong Space Certificate of Legal Studies. Coming from a family with no connections to law, Mr. Ahmed overcame immense hurdles by balancing a full-time job as paralegal while completing his study in CPE, LB honors, and a very demanding full-time PCLL at the University of Hong Kong. Today, in addition to be a widely published author across prominent legal journals, Ms. Ahmed is deeply dedicated to access to justice, pro bono community work, and mentoring the next generation. His journey is a testimony to resilience, consistency, and the power of showing up when it is very hard. Let's welcome Mr. Ahmed to share his journey with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello and good afternoon. I think I have the mic, so. Today, I know many of you are watching online and some of you are present over here. I am going to tell you a story. The story that started exactly maybe in the same room or just the opposite room. When I was attending the open day, like you guys are attending today. Basically, I just wanted to keep it, more simple, and I was just going to tell you a story about a student. So, I know many of you will have many questions, and you would be thinking that whether is this the right place for me that I'm here today, or whether I should be here or I should be somewhere else. Of course, hundreds of questions going through at your mind. But just remember and then have a look at the room just around you. And of course, when you walk outside, then again, just have a look outside. This is about, the story is from Certificate to the Court, and you could see the title there, my name and all the things. So today, I'm not here to teach you the law, but I'm just telling you that this journey, it's about what and how you guys could deal with this question, whether this is a suitable course for you or not. So moving on, sorry, there is some overlapping in the PowerPoints, but the main thing is what I was saying is the same. It remains the same. So that student on the open day, he was sitting right here, and then he has all these questions over his head, and he was thinking whether he should start or not. Eventually, that student, he joined the course, which was the Certificate in Legal Studies. And of course, it was a very difficult question for him and a very difficult decision for him, but he finally made that decision. And actually, it happened after, not long after the open day, because I think the timeline was really tight. and he enrolled into the certificate in legal studies. Of course, you heard that he has no legal background, and he was totally coming from a different culture and also from a different country, and he has no factual family background in the legal field in Hong Kong. And then he joined the course, started studying the certificate in legal studies. Now, when he started studying the certificate in legal studies, this was not easy. It was difficult. Of course, you can imagine for someone who has no legal background, who has no family ties or anything, any connections in the legal sector, suddenly come to study law. So of course, for that student, it was really, really difficult. Now, this one I have covered. Then what happened is the classes started, and then those classes were taken in this vicinity around the school area. And when you go to the corridor, you would see that there are several rooms. Those are the classrooms. And that student started 11 years ago. And the classrooms were, of course, one of the classroom or two were in the United Center, and the rest of the classrooms were here, right here in this building, on this floor. And if I mention that the classroom mostly that student attended was room 312 and 313, exactly 11 years ago. So that was 2015. And right opposite to 312, there was a study room, and then there was a time the student used to, because the student used to fast in Ramadan, so there was a time when he has to attend classes during Ramadan, and he would go to that room, and he would have a denim jacket, probably blue in color, and then he would literally place his hands and head over the desk and cover his head with that blue denim jacket. Now, just imagine when he was doing that, he was not enjoying that, and he was not happy with that. It was, of course, absolutely very difficult time for him to digest what was happening around him. Those questions started in the open day, and he was always curious about those questions, whether that was the time also that he has actually no financial stable financial resources, and the course was not cheap. The course was really costly for a person like him. Of course, it might not be costly for all, but for that person, the course was really costly, because during those days he used to, the student used to work as some part-time job. And so those were the things when he placed his hands and head and covered his head with that denim jacket, then there were a lot of things going on over his head. That time eventually passed. Now he has another struggle when he was choosing this course, because he did not know which stream to choose from, because there were in those days, 11 years ago, there were the space used to run two streams for certificate in legal studies. One was, if I remember well, general stream, and one was the professional stream. Now, if of course, that student did what he could to choose whether he should study general stream or whether he should study professional stream. Both streams were fine. Both streams probably were leading to the same direction that that student was going to. Now, after a lot of struggles, he made the decision to choose the professional stream because of some analysis that he did at that time. He finally believed that this was the right course that he should choose. He has, I would say that he has the best lecturers during those days, and probably they are around here. And amongst those were Danny Gittings and also Hanif Mughal and Dr. Thomas and one or two others that I could not recall their names. But we were lucky, that Dr. Danny Gittings, Dr. Thomas, and Hanif Mughal, they were around. Eventually you will know that this story is about what, but actually this is a real story. Then the lecture started, and then the student used to work in the daytime, and he has part-time job. And then in the nighttime, the student used to come to HKU space to attend lectures. Now, there were several subjects that the student has to cover during that time, and every subject was difficult, and you can imagine how difficult it could be for a person like that student. But he was lucky that he has great lecturers around him, and he has great friends and classmates around him, and he moved on and studied. Now, there were times during the studies when the student really thought that he should quit, and then he thought maybe it's not something that he could do, but maybe he was lucky, or maybe he has supports from his classmates and friends. He did not give up, and he moved on towards the completion of certificate in legal studies. Now, as I mentioned, that every subject in that course was difficult. It was not easy. And these things, the questions never stopped. They kept going on, kept going on. Eventually, when he finished the course, now he was very curious about, of course, every one of us would be, whether that student would pass the exams or not. It was not about actually the score. Of course, at the back of his mind, he has this idea that he wanted a distinction. Of course, all of us do the same thing. We do think that we want distinction, but of course the reality was totally different. It's not something like a student coming from home and going to university and studying and then going back home. It was totally from a practical life. This person has to make living, earn money for his family, and also he has to support his family, and he has to work hard. He has to pay the school fee. So just imagine, like, doing all these things was never easy. So the day came that when he has the results, and then this time it was something like, now even though now I'm recalling those days, okay, about that student, and I'm literally having goosebumps, because this was not an easier journey, and it literally giving me goosebumps. So then this time that he sat in the exams, and then he has the results one day, and ironically this student passed the course with really brilliant marks and percentage. And that was the time that, he said that, wow, yes, I made the right decision, and the certificate in legal studies was the best choice I have ever made. Now he believed, and he was really sure, because he tried it. And when he was starting this course, he has many ideas. Many people told him about the stories. Of course, he heard everyone, but eventually he made his own decision. He did not have to listen to all those people. But of course, he has to keep in mind, but the final decision was his, and he made it. Now, when he joined this course, he has one thing in his mind. He thought that he was not good at anything, actually. And he thought that this course might be something, or this field might be something for him that he's suitable for, because he was not suitable for anything. So then things clicked, and then he told himself, okay, let's check the waters. Now, checking here in this course, this was a playground for him. He wanted to see whether he would be able to go through and could study, could fulfill the criteria, and could qualify. Yes, he did that, and he tried. And when he got the results, then he eventually passed. And this was the few months, there were few months, a couple of months that he studied every day, almost every day, came here to this school. And the long hours work and everything. Then he found that, yes, this was a very good decision that he ever made, and he qualified. Now, it did not stop here. Of course, he has classmates who left after the results. Some qualified, some did not qualify, some just simply thought maybe this was not a good case, good course for them, or whether they were not suitable for this course. So many reasons, everyone has their own reasons, but there were some students, they gone. and we don't know the reasons, but of course we could see, oh, someone is missing from the class. Okay. So it did not stop there actually. Now for me, I had a clear picture in my mind. Now I had motivation. When I was starting this course, I had no motivation. I just heard speakers in the open day, and I had this student had his own imagination about all this program. Now it did not stop there after the certificate. Now he was really sure that yes, I'm saying this again and again because this is really the point where this student believed that he was on the right track. This was after the results in this course, in certificate in legal studies. It's not, I'm not saying that you must study this course, but I'm just saying the reality, what he felt and what he thought and what he saw at that time. The result came, some students left and some students stayed behind, and those who stayed behind, now they had clear picture, and that student also had a clear picture that now it's time to move on to the next level, and that was diploma in legal studies. He did not stop at the certificate because now he already knew that that was the right track. When he was studying at that level and then he moved on to diploma in legal studies, he did not waste any time, because these courses were at that time, these courses, certificate in legal studies, then the second one was diploma in legal studies. So he decided to move on to diploma in legal studies, because this is what he realized and this is what he wanted actually. Okay. So I may not follow the PowerPoints, but the story still remain the same. It's on the same track. Just bear with me, please. Now he decided to move on to the diploma in legal studies, and he started he did not waste any time. He enrolled in the diploma in legal studies, and the same difficulties that he has suffered, of course, the financial difficulties and also other difficulties regarding work related and also about study related. But he moved on, and then there was a time in the diploma in legal studies, actually different locations, different classrooms, and different subjects. Now the level of the subjects, the difficulty level went higher. Now of course for him that level was still very difficult, but now he moved on to the next level, year 2. I would call it year 2. It's basically separate, but I would say year 2. And then the difficulty level increased. Now probably the fee was the same or maybe a little bit higher, but the difficulty level of course absolutely increased. Now this time he had the continued struggle that he has in certificate in legal studies, and this struggle was going on again. Wow, what is he going to do when the exams arrive? Eventually, difficult times, there were good times, there were difficult times, and there were revision time that he had to prepare for his exams and everything. Of course, he has a classroom filled with his classmates, and those lecturers around, and people around him. Now, this was the time that he was moving to a different level, and this was the level 2 or year 2 in diploma in legal studies. So he chose the professional stream again, as he did in the certificate in legal studies, and now this time he is again studying and continued studying in diploma in legal studies. And then he has the exams as he did in the certificate in legal studies, and eventually he passed again. This time again passed with I would say higher marks, and when he saw that he made it again with very higher score, then you could imagine now someone like him qualifying, passing the exams with flying colors. I would say flying colors. I'm not going to say whether it was distinction or merit, but yeah, something like distinction. I would say flying colors. He passed again. Now, this time also during this year, he was working full-time, part-time, and of course he has to work part-time or full-time, but those days no full-time job for him, but he has a part-time job, and then he continued to work in the part-time sector because he has to produce money to pay for his school fee, and the things were going on. Actually, he did not give up. Now, when he got the second term results, the diploma in legal studies results, this was the time that actually he was already on the track where his destiny was waiting for him. But of course, he did not know at that time. That time was just like, crying and pain, emotional pain, physical pain, financial pain. This is real, and this was real. When he got flying colors, he got great marks. Now, he has options to choose. Now, of course, he was sure that he chose the right track, and he was on the right track. He was heading towards his destiny, and he believed. Now, the belief that he has from the certificate level is more stronger, and he already knew that. And here now he has a decision to make for the next level, and the next level was much harder than the previous two levels. Now, this level, he has another struggle. Now, he was sure that he is on the right track, but he has another battle inside him. Also, he was listening from around his classmates, also his friends, and then he has already established some connections in this area. So he has so many mouths coming from different angles and telling different things. Now, some were saying, oh, go to the University of London LLB program, and some were saying that go to CPE, Common Professional Examination of England, Wales, and Hong Kong. Now, these several groups of people, they had different views. Of course, all they were sharing their own experiences, or maybe they heard from other people, from other students, from family members, from friends. They were just transferring that knowledge. So that was, I think, a very crucial decision again. Actually, the first decision was also very crucial. If he never started, he would never have been to the diploma. And if he was never been to the diploma, then he would have never been to this decision that he was making that day, to whether to go to the CPE, LLB, or University of London program, because both programs were offered here at the HKU space. Now, this was a really big struggle. Now, he has conducted his own research, whatever he could do at that time. He discussed with his friends, classmates, also with lecturers, and at the end of the day, actually he also applied to the University of London, but he did not take that program, and it was HKU space, I think. The research that he did, it led to one conclusion. This was his research. Of course, I would not say it was a good research or bad research, it was a good decision or bad decision, but it led to something. What was that thing? We are talking 11 years ago. 11 years ago, CPE was really hot in Hong Kong. CPE route was really a route that he heard from other people and also his own research. It say that it is a tailor-made law program which is specifically tailor-made for Hong Kong. And this program was, of course, you can imagine, now people would say different things about the University of London LLB and the CPE from MMU. Of course, both programs are well-established programs. Both programs are difficult. They are not easy. Okay, there were things about the open book exams and those kind of things that mostly students would think about those programs and those routes. Okay, how are they going to deal with those kind of programs, if the open book exam or not? Everything was going on, but that student at that stage, he chose that this was a tailor-made program for Hong Kong. So if he could study the CPE, then he might not need to sit for the conversion exams, because if someone qualified from another university abroad, that person, if he has or she has the law degree, no matter from which university, probably, if I'm correct, all those students has to go through the conversion exams. They may be required to sit for all the conversions, or they may be required to sit for some. It depends whether the school will give them any exceptions or not, but there are exceptions. So at that time, he decided that, okay, CPE, he did not have to go through for conversion exams. And he also had the distinction which was in the diploma in legal studies. Now, he was in a very good standing at that time, because the CPE course that he was going to choose, that person, the student, need to have a degree in any area, but I think it should be a first class honors, something like that, or second class honors, but he has to have or she has to have a degree in any area. Or the second choice was that time, if you have studied the certificate in legal studies professional stream and the diploma in legal studies professional stream, and you got the distinction, then there was a chance the school may consider on exceptional basis to give you space in the CPE. This student was amongst those luckiest students that he landed into the CPE. He applied, and there were he was given the space, and he started to study in the CPE. Now, this is not a certificate in legal studies. Now, you are studying Common Professional Examination of England, Wales, and Hong Kong. They also, I think, they called it as graduate diploma in Hong Kong, a graduate diploma in English, Wales, and Hong Kong, something like that, you know. But it's the same thing. But CPE is very, you know, in the old days, I heard about this exam. I did not start study at that time. I heard about this program that it was a competition exam. It was a very tough exam, you know. Of course, stories, yeah. But when this student landed into the CPE, the course was extremely difficult, you know. There was time that when this student held his head and he literally cried because of the difficulty level, and also the finances that he has to arrange, and also the work that he has to handle. Okay, this is not something that did not happen, but it actually happened, and it was happening to someone, yeah, someone like you. So there were so many difficult things. Now that the study level, it's changed, and it changed dramatically, seriously. The level of the certificate and diploma totally different from the level of the CPE. And of course, I had my classmates who were parallel studying. We used to sit in maybe they were studying the University of London, LLB. They were sitting in this auditorium. We were sitting in this auditorium next to it. One auditorium was running the CPE, and the second one was running the LLB honors, the University of London, LLB. They were having the same issue, that it was extremely difficult, extremely difficult. Okay? There is no less difficult or more difficult in both programs. Both are difficult. Both are difficult. I would say again and again, they're not easy. Okay? And especially for someone who has no legal background, who has no friends in the legal sector, even though if someone has a legal background and working in the legal field, it's totally different from what you study in the books and you do practically. Okay. There might be something helpful that, of course, I would not say it is not helpful. Of course, it would be helpful if you have some legal background, and then you come across the legal terminology and topics, then you might be able to get along with our, get things done in an easier way as compared to someone who has completely no connection or no knowledge. Okay? So this guy has to survive. He has to take care of his family. He has to pay for the school fee. He has to pass the exams. Now, much more difficult exam. Okay. Now, he joined the CPE. Now, very interesting thing happened again here. In the CPE, in the first year, just imagine, keep the difficult parts, yeah, the physical, financial, whatever. just keep thinking about those problems, okay? But just keep telling yourself that you are not going to give up, because he did not give up. Okay? He literally cried, but he did not give up. He has financial problems. Now the fee was too heavy. For CPE, I think the fee was maybe, in those days, it was like more than 60K or 65, more than 65K probably, Hong Kong dollars. Yeah? Just imagine. Anyway, now that thing started, and the studies were really tough. Then we had the exams for the CPE. The best thing about this course was it was a part-time course, and of course the student has to go to work during the daytime doing his part-time job, and then he has to go to school to attend his classes. He was the luckiest person, actually, again I would say, because one of his lecturer is still sitting here in this room. Dr. Danny Gittings. Yeah, this is like inspiration, and again, it's something unreal, actually. It's really surreal. It's different. But, you know, sometimes we can't really express what we wanted to say, but yes, others can feel. And those were the days, like one day in CPE exam, I think this was the constitutional law paper or something, and then Professor Danny Gittings was there as invigilator, and the time up. And this student, when he say time up, that means really that he meant time up. This student was only holding his pen in his hand. He did not write, but he finished writing when he say time up. He was holding his pen, and Dr. Danny Gittings went to him and say, put down your pen, and then he suddenly put down the pen. That was too difficult. Like, you can see how disciplined it was from the time of study in the classrooms and then in the exams. And it was not an open book exam. Everything has to be done within the framework of those 3 hours, probably, if I remember well. And that was really challenging. Just imagine now, place yourself again in that student's shoes and say that, wow, he was doing all these things at the same time. Okay? And then he has the results for the CPE. And this time he was like, it was unbelievably great, you know, that the results again he got, those results were outstanding for him, I mean a person like him, and it was really good, flying colors again. So remember, he started with certificate, then he moved on to the diploma in legal studies, and then he moved on to CPE on exceptional basis, and now he has the results in CPE, and the results, he passed the exams again in flying colors. Now this was the time that he thought, no, he could never stop, because he already knew that he belonged here. And then of course the financial difficulties was still there, and he has to work part-time. He continued part-time work all the time. He did not go for any full-time job. Maybe that time that part-time job was more lucrative and well paid. So he went for that. He continued with that job, and then he has to choose now that whether he was going to quit, stop there, because he already had the CPE, or he has to move on to the next level, that is also from MMU, the LLB honors. That was technically the 5th year, start from certificate, or when you start from CPE, there was the 3rd year. So now, as I mentioned, the conversion exams for other like University of London LLB, there might be some conversion exams which I'm not sure about, but I heard during those days that there were some conversion exams. Now, this LLB was the top-up program to cover those conversion subjects that you might need to cover in the later stage. So also this thing that whether I could arrange the money for the 3rd year or whether I should study or not. Of course, now to move on and study further, the things were in that favor, just to move on and study. So he decided to pay for the school fee, and he applied for the course. He was taken again in the LLB honors. Now, as I mentioned, that the difficulty level, it increased with every level. It did not decrease, or it did not get easier, but harder and harder and harder. But now he has the stamina. He spent like 5 years studying. He knew that he could deal with it. And then he started studying in the LLB honors. And again, when he has the results, he really passed the exams with, again, flying colors. And now there was something, stories, different stories that we used to hear. Now again, stories, because you will see so many people will tell you so many things, and as a student you will get confused that whom to listen to. So I was having the same problem, even though I passed the LLB honors and I had my degree, but I still had the difficulty because there were some options, whether moving to UK or going for to New York or staying in Hong Kong. So there were so many questions. If I'm going to the UK, what I was going to do, or New York, what I was going to do, or if I'm staying in Hong Kong, what I was going to do. Of course, now the LLB honors, the marks percentage was not bad and not good enough, not very well done, the overall results, but it was flying colors still. Now, in those days, they said that, oh, that if you study CPE, then first of all, you will not have any conversion exams and LLB honors on that road, following that road. And also, there was people used to say that you will have good opportunity to get into PCLL. So, of course, for getting into the legal sector in Hong Kong, one has to go through the PCLL. I mean, there is no exception to that, unless someone is qualified in another jurisdiction and they are coming to Hong Kong through OLQE, which is totally a different route. So, but for everyone who studied law in Hong Kong, they must go through PCLL. Now, this PCLL was another difficult part for him, and he has to weigh all these information. Now, there was something like, oh, you go to CityU, and it's the admission rate is much higher, is lower, whatever. And then Hong Kong U is more difficult, and then higher the threshold. But those were just myths. Every year the percentage changes according to the percentage of students they come to join these courses. Like, for example, of course, CPE was very hard course. It's a tailor-made course for this PCLL. It was, okay. Of course, then CUHK, we have other universities joining the same route and courses. Of course, things changed, but CPE was still one of the hottest in this area. And then I remember this was the thing that we were going through during that time. And also this student was going through the same situation. And then what happened is the percentage of getting into PCLL, it changes every year. It changed every year. Now you can see that students who studied in Harvard, they might come to Hong Kong, and they may apply for PCLL, or someone from Cambridge or Oxford, they might complete their degree. Now imagine someone coming from Harvard and someone coming from a local school. What would be the situation? I mean, of course, we all know Harvard people coming from there, they are super smart. They are something, right? Of course, we don't say that students studied here, they are not, but both, there is a level. So when they parachute into Hong Kong, the level is changed. Now these students who studied locally here, they would face problems. They need to get higher marks, really higher marks. Okay. Now those days, I think the lowest percentage they would see was 65, probably 65% for the PCLL. Of course, for the self-funded one, and for subsidized one needed to have distinction, and at least 3 subjects, probably, if I recall, 72 something or above. Then they would have the subsidy. Of course, those were the smartest students. Now, this was another difficult area. Now, everyone was struggling. Now, this was the part applying to PCLL. Now, there were 2 options, CTU for that student and HKU. But of course, he has studied on this platform. He was more comfortable with HKU. And he has to choose. He could not apply to both programs, both PCLL programs at the same time. He has to choose one. One he has to keep on priority, one the second one. But he can't choose both as the first priority. That means if he chooses HKU, he would give up the CTU. If he would put the CTU as second choice, the CTU, he would never get it from the CTU because he already put the CTU. That means if he is not taken by the HKU, then he has to wait for another year to apply for CTU and put that CTU as first priority if he is not he did not get into HKU. So these were all the things this student was facing at that time. And eventually, so he got into PCLL. This student studied full-time PCLL. He was working from 2015, just briefly, from 2015 to 2019, he was working as a paralegal in a law firm. And then from 2019, he worked as part-time because he was studying PCLL. The PCLL time, because he was studying, now he's studying full-time PCLL at the HKU. It was extremely difficult program, and it is difficult. At the same time, he's working full-time in the law firm. He did not quit. He did not change to part-time because the lecture, there was time difference, and then we didn't have lectures every day or full day. So my firm allowed me this flexibility that I just needed to finish my work and I could go to study, and I was paid for all the time, like the full salary I was paid. I was not paid as a part-time, or what. I mean, this student was not paid for part-time. So you heard that everything intensified, and it is not qualification. It is not. He did not qualify. He was still studying that time, and now it was full-time PCLL. Yes, days filled with work, nights filled with study, and a lot were going on during that time. So I would just wrap up because we have some limited time now, and I have to stick to the time. Exhaustion became normal, and dawn became familiar, but quitting was never an option. This is, I kept saying that he did not quit. Now, those were the unbelievable years, and yes, the PCLL, that was a great achievement. I remember that day I was driving from my office, and these things were keep going in my mind, that whether the HKU would accept my application or not, because I still did not receive any reply, and I gave up. I mean, there was an offer from BP Law School for LPC, and he did not take that offer because he was thinking if he could get it from the HKU, then he would stay. Anyways, he turned down that offer. They kept open for some times, but then finally they asked him to give a reply, and then he has to choose. So he chose to wait for the HKU, and yeah, hard, lonely, relentless. Yeah. Now, eventually the years of sacrifice led to one movement, and that was qualification. And then this student, he qualified PCLL, and then after PCLL he did his training contract with the same law firm, and he admitted as a solicitor in Hong Kong. Well, he is engaged in different kind of pro bono activities, and he provide free legal consultation monthly in Kowloon City District. He developed the fakes about the Taipo fire incident. He also a volunteer lawyer in the from the Hong Kong from the Law Society of Hong Kong for the Taipo fire incident victims. He's also a mentor for the Strive and Rise program last year and this year both, and also for the Kowloon City District Council free legal consultation. He continued to do those as well. So what matter is consistency, and staying the course, showing up, choosing not to quit. I mean, the last one, he did the last one more strongly, choosing not to quit, because he always wanted to quit. When he started in the certificate, he wanted to quit, but he did not quit. These are the community work that he has done, and he is being published. He is one of the lawyer who has only 16 months PQE, post-qualification experience. He is published as a feature lawyer in his feature article on a very niche area. It was published in February. He has another article now is going to be published in June, which is on defamation. And you can see that in just 16 months, he's on all prestigious journals. I mean, you can imagine a person who started from the certificate. Do you think that he would have imagined that he would be on these journals? No. This is something I have no words to say, but yeah. Now, that uncertain student, that part-time worker, that full-time paralegal, that PCLL student juggling everything, yeah. The one who started with the Certificate of Legal Studies right here at HKU Space. That story, yeah, it was me, yeah. And if I could start here, struggling, uncertain, tried but determined, then your story hasn't been begun yet. And HKU Space didn't just teach me law, it gave me a way in. And you could see I'm having goosebumps again, right? That I'm standing here now. It's the place like I was attending the open day, and then it was the place where I studied. 11 years gone. After 11 years, I am right here telling you about my story. And this is my own story, the real story. And yes, if this can motivate you, then it's a great thing. If there are any questions, then you are welcome to ask. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ahmad. Thank you for sharing us with your legal journey from CLS to DLS to CPE to LB Honors, then to PCLL, then TC Admission and PQE. We are very proud of your achievements.
Thank you.
And now, as you can see, that one of your favorite lecturers from CPE, Dr. Danny Giddens, is here in the room. Let's welcome Dr. Giddens for a closing commentary and presentation of the souvenir for you. Thank you.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much. You know what the best part of this job is when you meet your former students who are successes, especially when they've started, when they've studied all the way with Hong Kong U Space. So I mean, every student at Hong Kong U Space is very valuable, and it's wonderful to see students studying with us. But someone who, like Ahmed did, starts on the certificate in legal studies, and you're talking very frankly about your uncertainty. And look at you here today, you're wearing a suit and I'm not, right? You're the professional here. It is a really wonderful, and I speak for other teachers at Hong Kong U Space. It gives us a really warm feeling too. And I have to say, yours is a wonderful story, but it's not the only one. I mean, maybe you're in touch with other, their classmates from certificate in legal studies. They're practicing as lawyers in the UK, yes, and even overseas, UK, yes, Australia. So if you're not sure about law, the certificate in legal studies is a wonderful way to start, and you have an inspiration here. So thank you again.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming along today to share.
Thanks.